Life is about decisions. None of us influence where we start, but we damn sure can determine where we're going. Each step you take leaves a footprint. Each action provides a page to your biography. Ask yourself this: when I leave, will they save a place for me? When I come back hungry, will I have a place at the table? When I return, will the door open? How genuine will the smiles be? How fake will the hugs be? Will home still be home? President's 919.
Back like I never left.
You are now listening to The Shaw Report with Damian Banks.
Hello.
What's happening? What's up? What's going on? It's the Shaw Report, and I am your host, Damian Banks. Shaw Bears and fans rejoice. You have your very own podcast hosted by moi, Damian Banks. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Sports by Damian. That's SportsByDamion. And you can also follow Shaw University Athletics on social media. On Twitter, it's at Shaw Bears. On Instagram, it's at SU_Bears. And on Facebook.com/Shaw Bears. Another week is in the books. You can go ahead and put it in your rear view mirror. Another week is upon us. I hope everyone had a great week behind them. Myself, more the usual, taking care of the family. My wife, LaShawn, my daughter, Loxley. Love them dearly. More of the same of that being, the all-around great father and husband that I am. Yeah, I like to pat myself on the back from time to time, but you got to do it, because if you don't do it, then who will? But I digress. Hope everyone out there in Shaw U land and podcast land had a great week. Whatever you're going through, doesn't matter. The week is behind you. We can start anew, build that business, start that relationship, get that promotion at your job, do whatever you got to do. If you're losing weight, it's still at the top of the year. Lose that weight. People still going through their New Year's resolutions. I hope they're still working out. Get in shape. Do whatever you got to do to make yourself better. Today is always has to be better than yesterday. You always want to be building. My coach used to tell me when I played football, all levels, middle school, high school football, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. There's no such thing and no place for stagnation in your life. Let me get off my soapbox. Again, you're listening to the Shaw Report. I am your host, Damian Banks. This is the official podcast of Shaw University Athletics. Want to shout out the SID at Shaw University, Miss Jo Williams, for allowing me, a Virginia State University grad, to do a podcast for Shaw University. Now, I know that sounds kind of odd, a guy that went to Virginia State doing a podcast for Shaw University, but I love my HBCUs. I love the CIAA, and I'm here to bring you podcast excellence. Speaking of the CIAA, we just wrapped that up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I hope everyone had a good time. Hope everyone was safe and sound down there, got back and forth to their destination safely. Looks like this is going to be the last year that the CIAA tournament is in Charlotte. Hasn't, been out of Charlotte for quite some time now. As long as I can remember, the CI has been in Charlotte. That destination is going to change in the near future. I don't think they made an announcement on where the tournament will be next season, but this past tournament just wrapped up. We're going to talk about that on this week's episode of the Shaw Report. We're also going to give you the Shaw Bears scoreboard, a little bit of softball with head coach Daishandra Goree. We're going to get into men's, women's basketball. We're also going to break down the CIAA tournament winners on the men's side as well as the women's side. The show is jam-packed, y'all. I thank y'all for rocking with your boy, man. It warms my heart to know that we have so much support out there in podcast land. Again, find this podcast on shawbears.com. You can find it on iTunes. Just search the Shaw Report. You can also go to Spreaker.com/Sports by Damian to find this podcast. So let's take this commercial break. We rocking, we rolling, you rocking with your boy. You're listening to the Shaw Report on Spreaker Radio. Hey Shaw Bears fans, refresh your game day with the new and improved real Coca-Cola taste of Coca-Cola Zero Sugar with 0 calories and 0 sugar. It's college sports' newest tradition. Grab an ice cold Coca-Cola Zero Sugar and taste the feeling. Coca-Cola, proud sponsor of Shaw University Athletics.
You are now listening to the Shaw Report with Damian Banks.
What's happening? Welcome back to the Shaw Report. Again, I am your host, Damian Banks. Don't act like you don't know what I'm about to do. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter at Sports by Damian. That's SportsBydamion. And you can also follow Shaw University Athletics on social media. On Twitter, it's at Shaw Bears. On Instagram, it's at SU_Bears. And on Facebook.com/Shaw Bears. If you want to know anything about Shaw University Athletics, just go to the website, shawbears.com. You can download this podcast. You can download any scheduling information you may want. If you want to go to a softball game with head coach Dyshandra Corey and support the Lady Bears, go to shawbears.com to find out scheduling, ticketing information for tennis, for volleyball, anything, whatever sport is in season, you can find out about it on shawbears.com. Now, this is the Shaw Report. You can find the Shaw Report on iTunes. Yeah, that's right. We're on iTunes. Just search the Shaw Report, or you can go to Spreaker.com/SportsByDamian to find the Shaw Report. And before the break, we were talking about the CIAA tournament. Hope everyone had a fantastic time at the CI in Charlotte this season. I wasn't able to attend. If you listen to any previous podcasts, my wife had surgery. My wife, LaShawn, she had surgery a couple weeks back. So I've been, pretty much taking care of her and my 20-month-old daughter. She's not able to lift heavy weights right now. So my daughter's about 23 pounds. So, I've been pretty much being an excellent father, an excellent husband, in no particular order. I take both of those roles very seriously. So my fellow HBCUers, I know you party like a rock star for your boy down there in Charlotte, North Carolina. And again, before the break, just spoke about the CIAA tournament moving from Charlotte. Hasn't been announced to what city the CIAA tournament will be moving to next season, but wherever it is, I'm sure the HBCUers will find it. And again, I would be remiss if I didn't mention congrats to Miss Brianna May from Hampton, Virginia. Miss Brianna May is Miss Shaw U, and she was just recently named at the CIAA tournament Miss CIAA for 2018. Now, Brianna got a $2,500 scholarship from Food Lion, and all around campus, people know who Brianna May is. She is a member of the track team, the cross country team, and the bowling team, so she has her hands full. Again, congrats to Brianna May, great young lady, and a great ambassador for Shaw University. She was just recently named Miss CIAA, so she can always tell any girl who wants to front on her in the future, like, listen, hunty, I was named Miss CIAA when I was at Shaw U. What have you done? So congrats again to Miss Brianna May. And speaking about the CIAA tournament, both men's and women's team were in action in Charlotte. So without further ado, we're going to get into the Shaw Bears scoreboard. We begin with CIAA tournament action for the Lady Bears as head coach Jock Curtis and the Lady Bears were playing in Charlotte, North Carolina versus the Lady Bulldogs of Bowie State University. Shaw trailed 12-16 after the first period and 20-27 at halftime. LaVencia Johnson finished with 12 points and 10 rebounds for Shaw, and Emily Davis matched those 12 points, but it wasn't enough as Kaya Proctor led all scorers with 19 points for the Lady Bulldogs as Bowie State ended Shaw University's season with a 56-47 defeat. The Lady Bears finished their season at 6-23 overall. Tough year for head coach Jock Curtis. He's a champion. He has won a national championship at Shaw University for women's basketball. He has won numerous CIAA titles, but tough season for the Lady Bears. I'm sure they'll bounce back next season. Moving on to men's hoops action, as head coach Joel Curtis and the Bears, they were a 2 seed from the Southern Division heading into tournament play. After a bye, the Bears were in action versus Virginia Union in the quarterfinals. Now, this one was close throughout, as Shaw trailed 38-34 at halftime. Shaw would have an opportunity to win the game late, but had a potential game-winning three-pointer block as Virginia Union came away with a 70-68 win. Senior D'Angelo Stevens-Bell poured in a team-high 20 points. Cameron Golden, another senior, scored 18 points in his final game in a Bears uniform, while fellow senior Savon Goodman finished his Shaw career with 14 points and 9 rebounds. And again, head coach Joe Hopkins, they finished their season a good 20-9 team for this year. No reason to hang your heads if you're a Shaw U men's basketball fan or player for that matter. Had a really good season, just ended in disappointment in the CIAA tournament. But again, head coach Joe Hopkins, he's won CIAA championships at Shaw University. He's taken the CIAA men to a Final Four appearance in Division II tournament play. So, nothing but good things to say about head coach Joe Hopkins. Next season will be a better season for the women's and the men's program. So salute and kudos to both those programs. And we move on to women's softball action as head coach Dyshandra Goree. Women's softball team played a pair of games versus St. Andrews University in Laurinburg, North Carolina this past week. The Lady Bears dropped the opening game after leading by the 3-2 score in the second inning. St. Andrews came back to squeak out a 5-4 win. Season high 8 hits for the Shaw Lady Bears in that game. Shaniqua Faha and Kanaya Rogers had 2 hits apiece. Now, game 2 wasn't as close as the Lady Bears fell by the 11-3 score. Shaw U will hit the field again March the 9th through the 10th as they host the annual softball challenge in Cary, North Carolina. ShawBears.com is the place to go for scheduling and ticket information. And that was your Shaw Bears scoreboard. We're going to take this quick commercial break. After this break, we're going to end the show with the CIAA scoreboard. You're listening to the Shaw Report on Spreaker Radio. This portion of the Shaw Report is brought to you by Summit Hospitality. Summit Hospitality is a proud sponsor of Shaw University Athletics. With 6 Marriott-branded hotels in the Raleigh area, Summit Hospitality can manage all of your lodging needs. Make your reservations for your family or a group by calling 919-669-0576 and let them know that Shaw University Athletics sent you. That's Summit Hospitality, 919-669-0576.
You are now listening to the Shaw Report with Damian Banks.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to the Shaw Report. Again, I am your host, Damian Banks. After every break, you know what I do. Don't act like it's nothing new. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter at SportsByDamian. That's SportsByDamion. And you can also follow Shaw University Athletics on social media. On Twitter, it's at Shaw Bears. On Instagram, it's at SU_Bears. And on Facebook.com/Shaw Bears. Thank you for joining me. I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to entertain you on a weekly basis. This is the Shaw Report. This is a baby of mine. This is a podcast that, it came to me. I was attending a Shaw University football game last year, and I asked the SID, Joe Williams, did anyone do a weekly, wrap of the Shaw University athletics, going on throughout the week? And she told me no. So, we just left that conversation at that. And, prior to doing this podcast, I also have done a podcast for Appalachian State. Well, I currently do a podcast for Appalachian State University. And I've also done a podcast, called All Things Sport, talking about anything, NBA, NFL, college, HBCU, whatever. I did a podcast for that. So, I went to Joe Williams with the idea, and, she green-lighted it. She green-lit it. And, here we are. Another week is in the books. We're rocking. We rolling. We doing what we do. And, this is the Shaw Report, as I continuously say, because I just want to reiterate that giving light to HBCU, shedding lights on HBCUs and CIAAs, and in particular Shaw University, is so important because, oftentimes in the national spotlight, we get left out. So we being HBCU, so it humbles me, and I am, very, very proud to do this podcast on a weekly basis. But I digress. Before the break, we broke down the Shaw University men's and women's basketball trips to the CIAA tournament. Again, both teams went down in defeat. The Lady Bears fell in the first round of the CIAA tournament to Bowie State, and the men fell in the quarterfinals to Virginia Union. But again, kudos to head coach Jock Curtis of the Lady Bears program and head coach Joel Hopkins of the men's programs. Pretty rough season. Difficult season for the women's team, who finished 6-23. Pretty good